Hey guys, welcome back to markdillon.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, do me a big favor and click the subscribe button because I would really appreciate it. So, on to tonight's question, which is from Paolo, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. He says, Hi Mark, I find your video blog on YouTube really good. I like your reasoning, and I find your talking relaxing and inspiring. Well, Paolo, you say relaxing and inspiring. Some people say boring. My best friend and my sister say it makes their narcolepsy set in. I'm happy either way, but I appreciate your compliment. So on to your question. He says, I'm having trouble meeting a guy that simply doesn't look for sex. I see. It seems as if nowadays nobody wants to commit to even a cup of coffee. It's just sex. Nobody is taking the time to get to know each other out of bed. And then he goes on to point out how guys will immediately send you to their Instagram page with tons of shirtless pictures, or on Grindr they'll start sending you nude pictures right away. And so, Paolo, I will agree with you that yes, all those things do happen, but I don't think that that means that nobody is looking to date either. So one does not preclude the other. And I think what you're doing is you're taking a very specific set of examples and letting that determine your perception for something uh, in its entirety. So when you talk about dating and the way people interact with each other in that entire, circle, in that entire sphere, the dating sphere, you've got the desire for companionship, you've got the desire for physical gratification, you've got the desire for an emotional connection, and that's all within that sphere of dating. Now, that sphere is divided up among those categories. So you're taking the sex side, the physical gratification side of that conversation, and letting the way people act regarding that determine your perception about dating as a whole. And that's just not right, because there are certainly plenty of guys out there who are looking to date, looking for a real connection. That doesn't mean that there's not times that they're also looking for immediate physical gratification. Again, one does not preclude the other. So, I would say let's step back. Let's look at this pragmatically. Think about the way people interact, the way guys, in that dating sphere interacted before the age of Manhunt, because Manhunt is really what kind of kicked it all off. Before that, you had these like chat rooms and things, but Manhunt is what really started the online hookup craze. And then Grindr came along and just revolutionized everything because it was truly location based, and you could find people within, 2,500 feet of you. So let's think about the way people acted before those things. Just as you have today, you had guys who wanted to date and get to know one another and have a connection. And you also had the guys that wanted an immediate hookup. Now, the difference was back then, those lines were blurred. Even if you wanted an immediate hookup, you still had to go out to a bar or a club and go through the customary pleasantries of chit chatting with someone, maybe buying them a drink. Uh, and the end goal was still to go home and hook up with them and have fun. But you went through the pleasantries anyway. Now those lines have become unblurred. If you're looking for a quick hookup, you don't have to go through you don't have to go through the motions. You get onto Grindr, you find somebody close to you, it's wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. They're over your house or you're over their house in 10 minutes. You have your fun, you're out the door. No questions, no strings, none of that. So, it's not like the old days where you had to even feign any interest in what the person's life was like. Where do you work? What do you do? What are you interested in? What's your favorite color? What's your dog's name? You don't have to do any of that anymore. But the truth is, it's always been that way. There have always been guys looking for an immediate hookup, and always guys, that have been looking to date. Again, the difference is now the guys looking for an immediate hookup don't have to pretend that they're interested in anything else. So the state of interaction is still the same. The difference is the lines have been unblurred. So the fact that there's guys looking for sex on the apps you referenced in your email, That doesn't mean none of them ever want to go out on a date. It doesn't mean that none of them are interested in getting to know you. It really depends whether or not at the particular time you're talking to them, they're looking for, a hookup or getting to know someone better. And by the way, I have a feeling, unless you're a very unusual man, there's probably times where you're just looking for a hookup, and that's okay. So, if you hook up with someone and you feel that there's a connection and you feel that there is, good chemistry, there's no reason you shouldn't ask them out on a date or try to get to know them a little bit better. And, on the times where you're not looking to hook up, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with. You could simply message someone and say, hey, I think you're very attractive. I like your profile. If you're ever interested in grabbing that cup of coffee, let me know. There's no reason you can't do those things. And you're very likely to find some people to take you up on that. Now, also, I want to point out the fact that what you're describing is pretty much exclusive to apps like, Grindr and Scruff and all of that. That dynamic is exclusive to those things for the most part. You're excluding all the other ways people meet each other to date. So you have to remember there are plenty of other viable alternatives to meet people to date or meet guys to date that don't involve, location-based hookup apps. You can meet guys to date through your friends, through your social circle, depending on where you work or where you go to school. Those are possible options. If you go out to bars or clubs, those are other possible options. If you're a member of any, gay groups or organizations like a gay volleyball league or a gay whatever. So you're letting this, observation you've made about basically, hookup apps on your phone determine your entire perception of dating as a whole. And because that perception doesn't really reflect reality, it's discouraging to you. So what you have to do is say, okay, yes, I understand there's a lot of horny guys out there that are looking for fun right now. But that doesn't mean that none of them would want to date me, and that doesn't mean that I'm not going to find someone who even wants to go out on a real date before we hook up. So that's the best advice I can give you, Paolo. Don't get discouraged. And, look, maybe have some fun of your own. You don't have to feel that if you're in the mood to play around and have a random hookup, that you shouldn't be able to do that. And, maybe through some of those random hookups, you would find somebody you're interested in getting to know more. Anywho, I just think you have to be persistent, you have to be realistic, and you have to be open to the idea that just because somebody is, for lack of a better word, horny, doesn't mean that that person never wants to date either. So that is the reality of dating in the modern gay world. And I hope this helps you, Paolo. And guys, thanks for tuning in to markdillon.com.